A very good afternoon. Welcome to the midday news on Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Ashwarya with you. All the developing news stories at the top of this are coming up ahead, including all the news on the budget session of Parliament. Here are the headlines first. Protests in Rajya Sabha over several issues. Chairman Naidu appeals to members to allow the House to function. Says Delhi violence issue will be taken up for discussion tomorrow. Adjourns the House as opposition refuses to relent. Disruptions continue in Lok Sabha. House adjourned twice as Congress members demand a revocation of expulsion of its 7 MPs. Lower House slated to discuss Delhi violence issue today. Congress government in Madhya Pradesh in crisis after 22 MLAs resign. Senior leader Jyotiraditya Scindia exits party. Chief Minister Kamal Nath claims government will not collapse. Coronavirus cases cross 50 in India. People with the travel history to Italy, South Korea to submit negative COVID-19 certificate to enter India. Kerala government sends 45 people who returned from Italy to various hospitals. And javelin thrower Shivpal Singh qualifies for Tokyo Olympics, crosses qualifying standard of 85 meters in men's javelin in South Africa. Becomes second Indian javelin thrower after star athlete Neeraj Chopra to qualify. First up, news on the budget session of Parliament and Rajya Sabha was adjourned till 2 p.m. amid opposition members creating uproar. Zero hour and question hour was stalled yet again. Soon after, the House conducted formal business. The opposition members protested over several issues. Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu urged the members to allow the House to function. And as the protests continued, the chairman adjourned the House till 2 p.m. This is slated to take several bills in the legislative business today. These include the National Commission for Indian System of Medicine Bill 2019, listed for consideration and passing. The National Commission for Homeopathy Bill 2019 is also listed for consideration and passing, and the Central Sanskrit Universities Bill 2019 is also listed for consideration and passing. In some other legislative business, Union Minister Arjun Munda will move amendments made by the Lok Sabha in the Constitution Scheduled Tribes Order Amendment Bill 2019 for consideration. This bill was passed by Rajya Sabha at its sitting held on 12th of December last year and transmitted to the Lok Sabha for concurrence. The Lok Sabha at its sitting held on 11th of February this year passed the bill with amendments. And Union Minister Nirmala Sitharaman will move the Direct Tax Vivad Se Vishwas Bill for consideration and return. The House is also slated to take up discussion on the working of the Ministries of Railways to be moved by TMC MP Derek O'Brien. Discussion on the working of the Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises will be moved by DMK MP Tiruchi Siva. And discussion on the working of the Ministry of Law and Justice to be raised by BJP MP Bhupendra Yadav. Also, discussion on the working of the Ministry of Rural Development and Agriculture and Farmers' Welfare will be moved by Congress MP Pratap Singh Bajwa. All right, let's get all the updates. Panchanan Mishra is now joining us live from Parliament. A very good afternoon, Panchanan. Panchanan, we saw that Rajya Sabha was adjourned till 2 p.m. amid ruckus really by the opposition parties over several issues, and the chairman urged the members to take to their seats and, let the House to function, but to no avail. But he also, has informed that the issue of Delhi riots will be discussed tomorrow. What can we expect as far as the second half of the session is concerned in Rajya Sabha?
Yes, Ashwarya, Parliament session today convened after a 4-day break after the Holi festival, and in Rajya Sabha, the issue of Delhi riots came again. And as Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu has assured that tomorrow there will be a discussion in the Rajya Sabha in the first half of the House. And because today it's happening in Lok Sabha under Rule 193. So, but members were agitating to do discussion under Rule 267 to adjourn the House under to discuss the issue under 267. So that was the issue, so that Chairman M. V. Naidu adjourned the House up to 2 p.m. And after 2, we are learning that government is now trying to bring that bill which is already being discussed, the Sanskrit University bill, 3 institutes which are to be converted and, to the status of Central University, Sanskrit University. So this is the prominent bill which is government is trying to pass, and several other bills, Vivad Se Vishwas bill, which is already passed by Lok Sabha, is also listed, and 2 other bills are also there. So list of business is there, but members are agitating on the issue of daily rights, and as we are learning that tomorrow there may be a discussion, but all eyes are now on in Lok Sabha. After around 1:30 the House will convene, and there may be a discussion on this issue of daily rights under Rule 193, and
Yes.
Home Minister Amit Shah is likely to reply it.
All right. Stay with us. We'll just come back to you. We'll discuss about Lok Sabha in detail with you. And Lok Sabha also witnessed repeated adjournments today as the House was adjourned twice in the first half amid protests by the opposition members. The House will now meet at 1:30 p.m. The proceedings were first adjourned till 2:30 p.m. as the Congress members raised slogans demanding revocation of the expulsion of its 7 MPs during the question hour. They were also joined by the DMK and left MPs. And the Lok Sabha is slated to take up discussion on the recent law and order situation in some parts of Delhi. The discussion under Rule 193 will be moved by Leader of Congress in the House, Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, and BJP MP Meenakshi Lekhi. Also listed for consideration and passing is the Aircraft Amendment Bill 2020 to amend the Aircraft Act 1934. This bill will be moved by Union Minister Hardeep Singh Puri. And discussion and voting on demands for grants for 4 ministries for 2020-2021 is also listed in today's business. These include the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, Ministry of Tourism, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, and the Ministry of External Affairs. All right, let's go back to Panchanan Mishra. Panchanan, as you were telling us that all eyes are, of course, going to be in Lok Sabha because that important discussion is going to be taking place. But, you know, in the morning we saw there was this all-party meeting also that was chaired by Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla. And the idea was to ensure smooth functioning of the House. But still, you know, we saw several disruptions continuing. There were 2 adjournments. Apart from that important discussion under Rule 193, what are the legislations, key legislations that are going to take place as far as the afternoon session of Lok Sabha is concerned?
Yes, there was 2 adjournment in the Lok Sabha, and the House finally going to meet at 1:30 now. But before it, there was all-party meeting called by Speaker Om Birla. As you know that Om Birla is not coming to House due to that incident of 7 Congress MPs who were creating ruckus, and then they were all suspended. And there is also a talk in the House that there is a committee under the chairmanship of Lok Sabha Speaker to decide the fate of these suspended members. And it will the meeting is under the chairmanship of Speaker Om Birla, and it may decide also on that issue. So this is also an issue which is the Congress members and DMK members are agitating on this issue. But the major point was that issue of Delhi rights, and it is expected that around 1:30 the discussion will start, because earlier it was supposed to start around 12:30. But now we have to see that what discussion will be there. But key legislation like Aircraft Amendment Bill is also there, and also there is a discussion slated on this demand for grant for the 4 ministries, which includes this tourism, health and family welfare, and social justice also. So first of all, the priority is that the issue of Delhi rights will be discussed under 193, and if House functions, then there will be a late sitting of the House.
All right. So all eyes are going to be especially on Lok Sabha, because that very important discussion is going to take place on recent law and order situation in some parts of Delhi. And it is expected that Union Home Minister Amit Shah will reply to the discussion in Lok Sabha at around 5:30. Of course, the discussion is under Rule 193, so there will be no voting. But of course, the minister will reply to that discussion. Thank you so much, Panchanan, for all those updates there on Parliament. Let's get to some other news now. The BJP Central Election Committee met on Tuesday to decide on the party's candidates for the 26th of March Rajya Sabha elections. The committee met under the chairmanship of BJP President J.P. Nadda and was attended also by Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Union Home Minister Amit Shah. Remember, elections to 55 Rajya Sabha seats falling vacant in April will be held on 26th of March, and 13th of March is the last date for filing of nominations. And now let's talk about political turmoil that is deepening in the state of Madhya Pradesh. The Congress government in Madhya Pradesh is on the verge of collapse, with senior leader Jyotiraditya Scindia quitting the party along with 22 MLAs on Tuesday. In his resignation letter to Congress chief Sonia Gandhi, Scindia said that it was time to move on as the path for the same has been drawing out over the last 1 year. He said that he was unable to fulfill his purpose to serve the people and the country by being in the Congress party. The resignation came after his meeting with Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Union Home Minister Amit Shah in New Delhi. The Congress meanwhile said that he has been expelled for anti-party activities. The three-time Lok Sabha MP took the decision to sever his ties with the Congress party on the day of his father Madhav Rao Scindia's 75th birth anniversary.
कांग्रेस पार्टी ने जिस तरह उनको अपमानित किया, जिस तरह से उनका उपयोग तो चुनाव से पहले किया, लेकिन चुनाव के बाद जिस तरह अपमान के घूंट पीकर भी वो काम कर रहे थे, लेकिन जिस तरह की भाषा दिग्विजय सिंह और कमलनाथ जी ने बोला, उन्होंने कांग्रेस को त्याग दिया है और फ्रेश स्टार्ट वो करना चाहते हैं। कांग्रेस के 20 से ज्यादा विधायक त्यागपत्र दे चुके हैं। तब इस बात से साफ दिशा दिख रही है कि कांग्रेस अल्पमत में आ गई है और ज्योतिरादित्य सिंधिया जी के लिए भारतीय जनता पार्टी के लोगों के मन में बहुत सम्मान है।
Soon after his resignation, 22 Congress MLAs also tendered their resignations. A delegation of BJP leaders met the Assembly Speaker NP Prajapati in Bhopal and handed over the resignations of the Congress MLAs who were staying at a resort in Bengaluru.
इस्तीफे दिए गए हैं, ऐसा आप लोग सुन रहे थे और अभी तक मैं भी सुन रहा था। अब ये मेरे को सौंपे गए हैं। जो नियम कानून की प्रक्रिया होती है, जो स्थापित नियम विधानसभा के हैं, तदनुसार मैं इनके ऊपर कार्रवाई सुरक्षित करूंगा और ये आप सभी माननीय सदस्यों ने मुझे प्रेषित किया है।
And both BJP and the Congress party held meetings of their legislature wings on Tuesday evening at the meeting of the Congress legislature party that was held at the residence of Chief Minister Kamal Nath. Around 100 MLAs, including 4 independents, were present. And Kamal Nath later asserted late Tuesday night that there was no threat to his government.
विशेषकर अहंकार, भ्रष्टाचार इसका मूल कारण है। जिस तरीके से अहंकारी तरीके से कमलनाथ जी मुख्यमंत्री के पद का संचालन कर रहे थे और जिस प्रकार का भ्रष्टाचार हो रहा था, उससे आम कार्यकर्ता, आम विधायक अपने आप को ठगा सा महसूस कर रहे थे और सोच रहे थे कि कल कांग्रेस का भविष्य क्या होगा। और केंद्रीय नेतृत्व के प्रति भी कांग्रेसियों में काफ़ी गुस्सा है।
All right, Kamal Nath saying that there's no threat to his government. But let's take a look at the numbers here. Well, the Congress has 114 MLAs in the 230-member assembly, while the BJP has 107 members. Now, 2 seats are currently vacant. And after the resignations, the Congress party is reduced to 92. 4 independent MLAs, 2 BSP MLAs and 1 Samajwadi Party MLAs are supporting the Congress-led government, which takes their tally to 100 seats, but which is still 5 seats less than the halfway mark in the state assembly. In midday news, we'll take a very short break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Rabindranath Tagore was awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1913 for his book Gitanjali. In 1950, he composed the music and lyrics for India's national anthem, Jana Gana Mana. And when Bangladesh became independent in 1971, they chose Tagore's song, Amar Shonar Bangla, as its national anthem. Tagore's life and works have made him a cultural icon, studied the world over, even into the 21st century.
The total number of confirmed cases of coronavirus in India now stands above 50, with the fresh cases reported in Kerala, Karnataka and Pune on Tuesday. A 65-year-old man in Jaipur who had returned from Dubai on 28th of February has also tested positive for the coronavirus. He is currently in isolation at the SMS hospital in the city. His wife and son have also been kept in isolation, though presently they are not showing any symptoms. And another 27-year-old man from Goa who had travelled to Italy and Finland last month and came in contact with a coronavirus patient has now been kept in an isolation ward. Meanwhile, the Health Ministry has said that people travelling from or having visited Italy and South Korea will now have to mandatorily submit a certificate of having tested negative for COVID-19 from laboratories authorized by the health authorities of their countries. Now, this is in addition to visa restrictions that are already in place. The Union Health Ministry on Tuesday also asked people to refrain from travelling to China, Italy, Iran, Korea, Japan, France and Germany and advised them to avoid non-essential travel abroad in view of the coronavirus outbreak. Meanwhile, the state of Kerala is on high alert with 14 people from the state testing positive for coronavirus by Tuesday night. The state government has also sent at least 45 people who returned from Italy to various health facilities. The state government announced restrictions on all public events till 31st of March, including shutting schools up to class 7 and closure of cinema houses. Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan also held a cabinet meeting yesterday and said that at least 1,116 people are under observation. The Kerala government has also closed the Periyar Tiger Reserve for tourism till 31st of March. And meanwhile, military transport aircraft of the Indian Air Force brought back 58 Indians from coronavirus hit Iran on Tuesday. The aircraft C-17 Globemaster was sent to Tehran on Monday evening. Remember, about 2,000 Indians are living in Iran, a country that has witnessed increasing number of coronavirus cases in the last few days. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar tweeted after the mission was completed, thanks to the efforts of our embassy and Indian medical team there, operating under challenging conditions. Thank you, Indian Air Force. Appreciate cooperation of Iranian authorities. We are working on the return of other Indians stranded there. And in related news, the Delhi High Court has sought the stand of the centre and the Delhi government on a PIL seeking proper and adequate measures to combat coronavirus. A bench of Chief Justice D.N. Patel and Justice C. Harishankar issued a notice to the Ministry of Health and also Delhi government seeking their replies on the PIL filed by lawyer Triveni Potikar. The PIL seeks directions to the centre and the Delhi government to make available important and relevant information on access to and the availability of medical facilities for testing and treatment of the coronavirus disease. And our correspondent spoke to Minister of State for Health, Ashwini Kumar Chaubey, who spoke about the measures being taken by the government to deal with coronavirus situation. Let's take a listen.
पूरी तरह से स्थिति को सतर्कता पूर्वक हम लोगों ने कंट्रोल करने का प्रयास किया है। जगह जगह एडवाइजरी भी जारी किया है, उसके अनुसार से काम भी हो रहा है। नीचे के स्तर पर भी जिला और जिला के नीचे पंचायत स्तर पर भी हमारी कई जगहों पर पंचायत के लोग बैठ रहे हैं और हमने उसको कंट्रोल भी किया है। खास करके जो बॉर्डर एरिया का है वहाँ पर, नेपाल के बॉर्डर पर जो 5 राज्य हैं वहाँ काफ़ी पैमाने पर हमने स्क्रीनिंग भी किया है। लाखों लोग वहाँ पर स्क्रीनिंग हुए और जो हमारे पेशेंट हैं वो ठीक भी हो रहे हैं। 14 दिनों तक उनको अलग से रखना पड़ता है, वो घर जाने की प्रक्रिया में भी हैं, तो उनको हर तरह से और भगवत कृपा से कोई कैजुअलिटी भारत में नहीं हुआ है। ये सुखद है। हमने जो भी प्रोटोकॉल उसके लिए सुनिश्चित किए गए हैं उसके उपचार हो रहे हैं और आइसोलेशन वार्ड भी हमने एडवाइजरी किया है। देश भर में अलग से उसकी व्यवस्था मेडिकल कॉलेज हॉस्पिटल में लोग कर रहे हैं। तो यह हमने पूरी सतर्कता और सावधानी बरती है।
And globally, the coronavirus situation continues to remain grim, with the deadly virus now claiming over 4,000 lives across the world. In China's Hubei province, the epicenter of the coronavirus, 22 new deaths were reported, taking the death toll to 3,158 in the country. Chinese President Xi Jinping, who on Tuesday made his first visit to the virus's epicenter in Wuhan city, said that it had turned the tide against the deadly coronavirus. And in Iran, the new coronavirus has killed 54 more people, raising the death toll to 291 amid more than 8,600 cases in the Islamic Republic. It represented an 18% increase in the deaths from a day before and 12% more confirmed cases. Italy also reported 463 deaths in just over 2 weeks due to coronavirus. The nationwide travel restrictions have been imposed till 3rd of April to try to stop the spread of the virus. And in the US, the death toll has risen to 31, while the infected cases surged past 1,000. The virus has spread to over 30 states in the United States, with many declaring a state of emergency. A total of 1,037 people have confirmed COVID-19 positive in the United States. And Turkey announced on Tuesday its first coronavirus case, a man who had recently traveled to Europe. Turkey's health minister informed that the man contracted the virus and called on Turkish citizens to avoid traveling abroad if possible. And Panama's health minister has also confirmed 8 cases of new coronavirus in the country, including 1 death, the first virus-linked death in Central America. The 64-year-old man, who was also suffering from diabetes complications, died of COVID-19 virus, while the other 7 people who tested positive ranged in age from 29 to 59. All but one had recently travelled abroad. And in UK, MP Nadine Dorries, a minister in the health department, has tested positive for coronavirus and is self-isolating at home. Health officials are now trying to trace where did she contract the virus and who she was in contact with. 6 people have died in Britain from the virus, with 373 confirmed cases. And now our special segment on environment and climate change. According to a report by McKinsey Global Institute, climate change and global warming could have effect on India's GDP. The impact of global warming on outdoor work and the resultant loss in productivity could put 2.5% to 4.5% of India's GDP at risk annually. The sectors at a greater risk include agriculture, mining, manufacturing, hospitality, transport. Unless there is an effective decarbonization, within 10 years, 160 to 200 million people in India might be exposed to lethal heat waves and temperatures exceeding survivability threshold. Heat and humidity would also affect labor productivity, with workers needing more breaks and the human body naturally limiting its efforts to prevent overexertion. In case the greenhouse gas emissions continue to rise, urban areas in parts of India and Pakistan could be the first places in the world to experience heat waves that exceed the survivability threshold. Sports news now. Indian javelin thrower Shivpal Singh has qualified for his maiden Olympic Games. Shivpal became the second Indian javelin thrower after star athlete Neeraj Chopra to qualify for Tokyo Olympics. 24-year-old Shivpal crossed the qualifying standard of 85 meters by hurling the spear to a distance of 85.47 meters in his fifth attempt to win the gold late on Tuesday. And in more sporting action, Indian boxers Vikash Krishnan and Simranjeet Kaur have also advanced to the final at the Asian Olympic qualifiers at Amman in Jordan on Tuesday. Krishnan will now face Elihat Hussain in the final of the 69 kg and Simranjeet Kaur will face two-time Asian champion Oh Jeong-ji of South Korea in the 60 kg category. Meanwhile, in some other categories, MC Mary Kom in 51 kg, Amit Pangal in 52, Lovlina Borgain in 69, Pooja Rani in 75, Ashish Kumar in 75 and Satish Kumar in 91 kg category had to settle for bronze medals. So far in the competition, Indian boxers have cemented 8 Olympic berths. And with that, we wrap up this edition of Midday News. Thanks so much for your time.